Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary, Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And I'll tell you, next week we know we've got a huge women's fatal four-way number one contendership matchup. We found out the final participant in that fatal four-way tonight, as well as the tag title matchup between Heavy Machinery and Undisputed Era. So next week is looking pretty promising. But I'll tell you, as far as tonight's NXT goes, this episode, holy fuck. We got the debut of Dominik Dijakovic, as we're now learning it's pronounced, and the steel cage main event did not disappoint whatsoever. I thought this episode of NXT was substantive. It was fun, kept a great pace. It really feels like the last few weeks of NXT have really been kicking into high gear, and it shows no signs of slowing down for next week, but tonight was absolutely exceptional. Ashton, what did you think of this, man?
Dude, I got to tell you, this was one of my favorite episodes of NXT in recent memory, and it's looking like next week is going to be pretty stacked as well, albeit maybe not as stacked as this week was. We got great women's action. We got to see my personal favorite female wrestler in NXT right now, in Io Shirai, and she got to dominate, and it made me very happy. We got the in-ring debut of Marina Shafir and Jessamyn Duke. We got the debut of Dominik Dijakovic, like you said, and even though we've seen Chris Dijak before, this is the debut of that character, I guess. And we also, like you said, we had an amazing steel cage main event that I can't wait to talk about in depth with you, so I'm ready to get into this whenever you are, my friend.
All right, then let us get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I've got 0 heats of the night, partner. I got nothing to complain about. What about you?
I also have 0 heats of the night. So
well, then we're just keeping an amazing fucking pace. So let us get right into our NXT review. And we open up, after all, like the intro stuff and getting the rundown of what's in store tonight, with our women's tag team matchup, Io Shirai and Dakota Kai against the legit 4 horsewomen, at least two-fourths of it, Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir, debuting on NXT TV as a team. Ashton, what do you think about this, man?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, if for no other reason, because we kind of got to see the power difference, like some power levels, like DBZ level shit between Io Shirai and the rest of the women contenders in NXT. We got to see her just dominate as soon as she got tagged into the match. And it's not like, it's not like Dakota Kai was really doing a good job of holding her own against Duke and Shafir either. She was kind of getting handled pretty well by them. They were using some like tag team 101 psychology kind of stuff, keeping her isolated, making the frequent tags, stuff like that. But man, as soon as she got her tag into Io ended this shit. Like, she was not having any of it. She destroyed Marina Shafir. And Dakota Kai did end up contributing to the win because of the fact that she was able to big boot Jessamyn Duke off the apron when she was trying to distract Io when she was getting ready for her moonsault. But goddamn, if Io Shirai isn't the best thing going right now in NXT's women's division.
Dude, it just makes me so happy for her, because whether you're a long-standing Io Shirai fan, because it's been a few years that she's been hailed as one of the best in the world.
Yeah, I was going to say, I won't say I'm a long-standing fan of hers, but I've definitely been a fan of hers since before she came to NXT, for sure.
Or you're more of a newcomer like myself, I'm just really happy for her because I know that WWE was her dream, and it's already just treating her so well. And I love the way they made her look here. Really, I felt like there really weren't any losers here because, Dakota struggled, but she played defense when she had to, so she showed up, and I think that's the most important part of tag team wrestling, isn't just offense, but looking out for your partner, which Dakota did. Jessamyn and Marina, for the time that they were on offense, they looked great. And I even said to you on live reactions, and I'll reiterate here, if we do get women's tag titles, and they do have that rule in place where the tag titles are defended across all the brands, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, which I hope they do, because that'll really give you a division. If you just leave it to one brand or whatever, it's going to flounder. But I think if you do it across all 3 brands, you're looking at a great team, I think, in the making with Jessamyn and Marina. Absolutely. I really dug the little bit that we saw from them. and fucking Io just dominated. Like I even said, I think my line of the night on live reactions was, I called Io the hot tag. I should have called her Scorched Earth. Like she just ended it the moment she got in there. And you're right about power levels and stuff. I'm really glad you brought that up because it really makes her look like one of the more legitimate competitors in the division, which I think is only going to help her in the long run and help the NXT women's division in the long run because they've got such a fucking ace in Io. So great shit all around, dude. Great opener.
Yeah, man. And it's really interesting too to note that Marina was the one that ate the pin here. So we have to question, like, are they going to try and protect Jessamine, or are they both kind of on a similar level? We'll see.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Jessamine, like, is a fucking beast. Like, don't get me wrong, Marina is great and all, but Jessamine Duke is a she might even be 6 feet tall, and she's like all tatted up and shit. Like, she just looks like a beast. So she might have the type of look that WWE thinks we need to protect her because we want to invest more in her than anyone else out of this group.
Right. Yeah, I can certainly see where you're coming from because I'll tell you, these four women, Jessamine, Marina, Shayna, and Ronda, you know that they're going to want to do big things with all four of them and probably interchangeably, you know, with
And they've
Marina.
already done big things with two of them, to be fair.
Exactly. And Marina and Jessamine. I mean, hell, I talk about them being future and like women's tag team champions. They could beat Boss and Hug Connection and be the first ones. I mean, who even fucking knows with this company? I mean,
if we're comparing horsewomen, it's kind of starting to feel like Marina might be the Bailey of her horsewomen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So, really fun match. I've got nothing else to say, though, without the risk of getting redundant. So, I'm good to move on if you are.
Let's move on then. After this first match, we got the announcement that we are going to be getting Black Gargano 3 in a steel cage later tonight. Then we get a Dominic Dijakovic vignette. And it, of course, says that we will see him tonight. Then we got a recap of Matt Riddle versus Punishment Martinez from, I think, 2 weeks ago. And then we get a Matt Riddle interview, which I know you were able to pay a lot more attention to than me. So I'm going to let you just talk about it yourself. And I don't really have much to say.
He essentially says, just to keep it brief, that, you know, it sucks that he got attacked by Cassius Ohno, but, you know, he beat him in such quick time at TakeOver that Cassius needs any advantage he can get. And I dare him to try and do that to me again. So Riddle really laying the gauntlet down that he wants to meet Ohno again in the ring and pretty much calling him out like, hey, you ain't shit. You know, try and do that to me when I'm looking at you square in the eye. But of course, in a much more chill way because Matt's a bro till the day he dies.
Yeah, and, dude. You know who he reminds? Have you ever seen the movie Remember the Titans?
Yeah.
He reminds me of Sunshine, man. That's who he is.
Yeah, man. I just love how laid back this motherfucker is.
Yeah.
So really succinct promo from Riddle. You want to talk about people like because we've got these call ups that we've been talking about, you know, with Lacey and Heavy Machinery and all of them. Matt Riddle's another guy that I think could transition really well if they promote him right. Like he just has that likability to him, and yet he's got that legitimate factor. You know, when he's in the ring, just that air about him. Like you don't want to fuck with this guy. It's really the perfect blend. I'm so excited for his wrestling future, and I've been saying that for the last couple years. So good succinct promo here from Riddle. Nothing more to say than that. We can move on.
All right, man. Well. Next, we got our second match of the night, and this was Dijakovic's debut against Aaron Mackey, even though his trunk said AC Mac on them. Man, how great is Dijakovic? Like, I know we've got to get used to that name because we're so used to calling him Dijak, but Dijakovic still, like, even if I'm not the biggest on the name, he's still damn fine. He is so good in the ring. And I even pointed out while we were live reacting to this that I love that you can put him against a smaller guy and he can be a monster, like a giant type wrestler. But then if you put him against someone that's bigger or similar to him in size, do high flying shit and he can do lucha shit and he can do flippy shit and he's unbelievable at it. Like it's just such a great package that we've got in Dijakovic here.
Dude, Dijakovic is a specimen. Like Jesus Christ.
But yeah, and that's the other thing too is dude's ripped as fuck.
He's ripped as fuck, but when I say specimen too, like I'm not even trying to do my whole shtick where like I ogle a guy, although believe me, he is ripped. I'm not going to deny that, but just his technique, the way this guy carries himself. I mean, Paul had line of the night when we were watching this segment. You know, he just unloaded all over that poor boy's face because, you know, that knee that he got on Mackie at the end, just, oh my God, that burning hammer into the knee that you were telling me about, seeing it. It's such a great fucking finisher. Do we have a finisher award in TWitWoW, right? Because
yeah, we do. We really,
yeah,
we have a finisher of the year, which I might end up giving that to Dijakovic's Feast Your Eyes after 2019 said and done. But it's
I was getting ready to say the same thing. Pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so new that I would have a hard time giving it to him for this year because it's only like this is the first time we've seen him use it at all.
Which, by the way, guys, talking about awards and distinctions, 11 days until our year-end awards, and believe me, I'm saying that just as much for my sake as I am for yours, because I need to.
Dude, I can't wait! I'm so excited for our year-end awards. That's easily my favorite thing that we do every year. Like, I know that your favorite thing that we do, period, is Fave Fives, and that's probably second place for me. But the year-end awards are just absolutely like my absolute number one favorite thing that we do, period.
And that makes me so happy. I'm just sweating bullets because I have so much work to do. But regardless, speaking
you have
of
the template though, so it's all good.
Yeah, we'll see how well that works out. Dijakovic, on the other hand, makes quick work of Aaron Mackey here, and I'll tell you, really, here's where I got to credit NXT and really WWE as a whole, because I am concerned with the oversaturation. I've been saying that for a long time on this podcast. If you're Dijakovic, you had to be getting frustrated that like you were just kind of sitting on the bench and only occasionally called up just to kind of do a quick match with some other pet project that you were prioritizing. But timing is everything. And with Lars on the way out, Dijakovic now has an opening where he has a lot of room to play now, and he is going to take advantage of all of it. Like that's the thing, guys. What really makes this work to me, and why I want us to kind of see the forest for the trees with Dijakovic, is he had to wait a long time. Yeah, it sucks. But Lars is gone now, and I guarantee you Keith Lee probably won't be far behind, if he, propels himself the way that I expect him to. Dijakovic has a pretty big sandbox right now, and this is a dude with the talent to take advantage of all of it. Like, if this guy isn't in the NXT title picture at some point next year, something's wrong either with his attitude backstage or just with the writing, one or the other, because there is no reason why you do not put this guy in the main event. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. And really, he's more of a veteran than Lars. Lars is very green, and that's where I think Dijakovic, really is going to go to that next level because he is experienced. And it's just so fucking exciting. So I really love this.
Do you realize he actually reported to the Performance Center on August 21st of 2017? That's how long he's been there.
Damn. Well, again, timing pays off. He waited and he waited and he waited. And now I guarantee you, given the openings and given the shuffle with the roster, that they are really going to prioritize him. And they are really going to promote him.
I wonder what they were waiting so long to put him on TV for. Because like with Riddle and Keith Lee and I mean, who's the recent one? Punishment Martinez. Like those guys got on TV almost immediately. Like within a month or two of signing, they were on TV. Whereas with Dijak, even if you just count his first sort of exhibition match against Ricochet, it took like 5 months. Like he signed, actually it took more than 5 months. It took like 9 months. Like, cause he signed, like he reported to the Performance Center on the 21st of August last year. He signed in July of last year. Or actually, you know what? No, he signed in September 5th of 2017. And he didn't make his in-ring television debut in NXT until May of this year. So it legitimately did take him like 8 or 9 months to find a place in just like a random television match that was not even really meant to be like his proper debut. And then you fast forward another 7 months from May to December for his proper actual debut. Like that's crazy to me.
I don't know what they had to work with Dijakovic on to get settled. I don't know if it's like a temperament thing or a writing thing or a combination of things. But I really do think now with the vignettes and now the debut, I'm just really curious because let's keep in mind, like you said, I mean, Riddle's still there. Keith Lee is still there. In the grand scheme of things, they're still relatively new as well. And now you've got Dijakovic in the mix. Like, are we building up a North American division? Are we just looking at the main event division with the NXT?
Well, I mean, maybe it's like you said, maybe they're looking to replace Lars since he's on his way out.
Yeah. And so, I mean,
that's also why they packaged him more as a heel too, because he clearly came off as a heel here.
Oh yeah, dude, the way he bullied this young guy was just, oh my god. Time to fly, and just throws him like nothing.
And it was, the thing is too, it's not like it was like your typical Beal that you would see from like a normal like monster character. He basically started like he was going to give him a vertical suplex, but instead of falling with it, just threw him across the ring.
Absolutely. No, man, I am really digging what Dijakovic is kind of showing us that he's about.
He's
And
listed
yeah,
at 6'7", 270, by the way.
well, I mean, he carries it well. Like that's the thing. He moves
Well,
so
maybe
well
that
in
was
there.
one of the reasons it took so long for him to debut. Maybe they were wanting him to get ripped the way he is. Because I mean, we both commented, and my mom even commented on how friggin' ripped he is when he showed up.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing. If you got a body that's ready for TV, which I feel like he's, because we've seen him in like ROH and stuff. I feel like he's never had a
Yeah, but I don't
body.
feel like he was always as cut up as he is now.
Right, right. I've never been alarmed by his body, like say the wild variants that a Cassius Ono can have. But I mean,
Right.
if this is what they wanted him to get ready for, he looks fucking great. Like I'm telling you, dude, he looks like if we had a babyface NXT champion that he could just take their fucking head off tomorrow. You know, like he is gonna just tear through the fucking division. And
Yeah.
honestly,
Like whoever does take the title off of Ciampa, which I'm guessing at this point is probably going to end up being Alistair. He's probably going to end up being a third ever two-time NXT World Champion. I wouldn't be surprised if whoever that ends up being, and even if it is Alistair, if Dijak or Dijakovic takes it off of him within maybe even at the next takeover, like 2 or 3 months later.
I mean, brother, you know what? No better way to punctuate a segment than kind of calling my shot. I'm gonna call my shot right now. I'm not gonna think about the main event so much, but NXT is a mid card now for a reason. I think Dijakovic next North American champion. I'm gonna call. Yeah, I'm gonna call my fucking shot. I think he's gonna.
You think he's going to be the one to take it off Ricochet? That would actually
Yeah,
be kind of a full circle story too, because his first televised match in NXT was against Ricochet, and he lost that match.
that's a great point. Yeah, I'm calling it. I think Dijakovic's gonna be the next North American champion. Yeah.
So I'll kind of combine our takes into one take for myself, a prediction. Dijakovic holds a title in NXT before the end of 2019.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And
Oh
you know what though? That's the thing is, it's not like I'm stating the obvious here or anything, because we've still got Matt Riddle without a title. We've still got Keith Lee without a title. Punishment Martinez just showed. Like there are a lot of other guys that could be in contention for championships. Not to mention, we've still got a very crowded main event scene between Gargano, Ciampa, and Black. We've still got a relatively crowded North American title scene with Ricochet, Dunn, and Adam Cole all vying for that title. Plus, you've got to take into account the other Undisputed Era guys that might decide to want to go into business for themselves and try and win a singles title, like we saw Roderick Strong do with Pete Dunne. I don't know, man. There's still a lot that could happen that could prevent Dijakovic from winning any titles, but I'm putting him out there, and I'm going to say I think he does win one in the calendar year of 2019.
And I am enthusiastically behind that 10,000%. So what came after this?
After this, let's see. I actually wrote notes while we were watching this, so I can actually go back and look. Heavy Machinery video package. We find out that they are up next, and they are getting their NXT tag title shot next week against the Undisputed Era. Then we also find out via a tweet from William Regal that Io Shirai is the 4th participant in next week's #1 contendership fatal 4-way match, also involving Lacey Evans, Bianca Belair, and Mia Yim. So that match is going to be great. So we're getting that and the Heavy Machinery Undisputed Era match both next week.
Yeah, dude. NXT next week is looking fucking legit. I'm especially looking forward to that fatal 4-way. That is going to be so freaking good, I think. But yeah, so we get that rundown, and then Heavy Machinery squash matchup was next, right?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Heavy Machinery just kind of toyed with the guys that they were against. I didn't catch their names, but they were both wearing blue trunks. They got toyed with, and then Undisputed Era shows up, and we're like, oh man, is Undisputed Era going to cost Heavy Machinery the match? Heavy Machinery hits the compactor on one of the guys. Otis lifts his head up before the 3 count. Then they hit the compactor on the other guy. And then they hit the compactor on both guys at the same time for the win.
Yeah, not really much to say here. It was a squash match. It was kind of a tune-up before they fight for the big gold next week, which I
mean, really, if I have any nitpicks about this entire show, it's that we got a Heavy Machinery match, but didn't get an Otis Dozovic Caterpillar.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's for the big matches, I'm guessing at this point. Like you'll definitely see it next week.
That for the big ones, of course. I love it.
Yeah, he's understanding how to do business now. Good on you, Otis. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, man, nothing really to say. I'm excited for the tag title matchup, especially because
Dude, the
you know,
first time he does that on the main roster, he's gonna instantly become the most over thing since fucking Daniel Bryan in 2014.
yeah, I mean, I think it's such a great story for them. I mean, obviously they're not going to win the titles with this call up happening, but they got squashed pretty easily in their first NXT tag title matchup against AOP. And I feel like this is going to be a really competitive affair, though. And I hope they get a nice reaction from the crowd and a good send off. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What came after this?
After this, we see Gargano warming up, and our steel cage match is up next. Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano. So let's get into it, brother.
Oh my God, you go first, man. Give us all your thoughts, and then I'll go.
I'll give you all my notes. How about that? I'll do it.
Fair enough.
You know what? I'm not going to give you all my notes. I want you to tell me where in my notes should I stop, because I don't want to obviously go through the entire match and the post-match stuff. So just tell me where to stop.
Oh, okay.
No, like
All right.
tell me ahead of time
Oh,
where.
no. Well, okay. I thought you were just gonna go through, and then I'd be like, okay, let me cut in. I guess before the big finish, just
Okay, so
yeah, because that's a distinct thing.
So Gargano attacked Black during his entrance, and they kind of fought outside the ring. Gargano had control once they got into the ring. We got a great sequence involving Black navigating the ropes after an attempted catapult from Gargano, and he finishes it off with a moonsault off the top turnbuckle. He landed kind of awkwardly on his knees, but he seemed fine for the rest of the match. We got a thing where Black got this moment where he climbs up the cage and it looks like he's ready to escape, but then he turns around and he chooses not to, and that allows Gargano to take the momentum of the match back. And he uses Black's kicking power eventually because these guys are back and forth constantly. The momentum's shifting. I pointed out in our live reactions that an overlying story of this match is that Johnny is smarter, but Black is the better fighter. So Johnny was using his intelligence a lot during this match, and once Black got the momentum of the match back in his hands, he started just kicking the shit out of Gargano up against the cage. And Gargano was smart enough to position himself so that Black's next kick would also open the door, and he tried to use that as an opportunity to escape. Black prevented him from escaping, pulled him into the ring. Gargano escape locked in. We got a big sequence involving that ended with Gargano trying to escape the cage, but Black stopped him. Johnny tries a mustache ride, but Black stiffens up and holds back. Gargano falls flat on his back. And then we get Gargano using the ropes as a way to kind of low blow Aleister 3 times, and then super kicked him and used the lawn dart on him. And then a second lawn dart into the cage. Black with a black mask, but can't cover Gargano. And then as they're both trying to escape in opposite corners, we get our big reveal / turn / surprise, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Okay, so now I take over here because that was our cutting off point. This was so fucking good. I said to you on live reactions, Ashton, that it's amazing when two wrestlers really establish that chemistry with each other, that they just can't have a bad match. And the funny thing is, and I'm going to say it, I never really thought I'd say this about Johnny because I feel like I've been pretty praiseworthy here on the podcast. That's not new. But I'm beginning to think that Johnny is pretty much that guy for everybody because he has like amazing matches with Almas. He's had great matches with Ciampa. He's having great matches now with Black. I mean, I know William Regal once called Dean Ambrose everybody's perfect opponent for the next 10 years, but maybe we could also ascribe the same kind of line to Gargano here.
Well, and especially because we're seeing now that he can do it as the scrappy underdog babyface or as the slimy dirtbag heel.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Ash, and having that kind of variability, versatility, yeah, just being able to be that scumbag. Because before I'm just like, and I've said it on the podcast, and you've always co-signed, and you've been as enthused about it. I'm like, man, what a baby face. He can sell his fucking ass off for people, makes him look like $1 million. Definitely sympathetic.
Dude, the selling is almost more satisfying when he's a heel, though, because
dude, absolutely. Well, it's like, and you and I have talked about this too. It's like wrestling 101, right? If you've got a guy that's a heel, like I'll give you an example. When I was growing up as a kid, and the first really big feud I saw when I got into wrestling was Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Well, right. Triple H was such a dick, right? Every time he'd be busted open or he'd a sweet chin music, like I'd feel so happy inside because I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy. And with Gargano, he's so good at the selling and so good at selling the desperation. And normally if this was like 10, 20 years ago, I'd say, man, it's a shame that Gargano isn't a bigger guy and whatever, because he'd be like that top heel. but you can definitely tell that the tide's kind of changed in the last few years.
Especially when it comes to heels, because I think Vince is still mostly set in his ways as far as what he sees as his top face. But when it comes to heels, all bets are off, man. Like Daniel Bryan is running the world right now, and he might be even smaller than Gargano.
Yeah, dude. And that's the thing. Like, I think about Daniel Bryan, and you see the people he's working with, Mustafa Ali and this and that, and now I think that is Johnny Gargano. Before, I only said it was Johnny Gargano on the babyface side, but now seeing Bryan work heel, which we already knew could be good, but seeing Gargano work heel, which has been a revelation to kind of both of us, it's just been amazing. And I'm like, this guy can play both sides of the ball, do both sides of the ball fucking expertly. And this is a guy that if he's a heel, you're going to love seeing him get his ass beat because he's so morally self-righteous and smug. And when he's a babyface, you're going to cheer your heart out for him because he's all of us out there. And it's magic when you're able to do that. But I'm going to press pause on my Gargano praise and go to Aleister Black. This fucking dude, I mean, I say it time and again, his striking ability is just bar none. You know what he has? And it's so funny to me because I saw an interview with Brian Pillman's son recently. And he was talking about the big gun angle with his father, Brian Pillman. And he's talking about like how he got into wrestling and the people that he loved. And he mentioned like the Guerreros and the Benoits because they always made it look real, he said. That's what I think really makes Aleister thrive. And if Fox is really looking to make SmackDown that kind of sports show, I could see Aleister really thriving there and being a WWE champion if he comes up during that era and he goes on that brand. Because his striking and the way he carries himself, he makes everything look so fucking legit to me that I'm just like, wow, this guy. And you know what, though? I love it, too, because I always used to mention about the Guerreros and so on and so forth, but he's not like a suplex guy or a lucha libre guy or anything like that. He's a striker. And I feel like in this day and age that where like MMA is so popular, this guy's got the crossover appeal of Brock Lesnar with like none of the drawbacks. Because I'd even say he has a better look than Lesnar in terms of like the overall aesthetic, and he fucking shows up. So like I feel like you get so much out of him. And how old is he again? Because I feel like he's on the younger side, right? But maybe like at least mid-30s.
We're talking about Gargano?
We're talking about Black now.
Oh,
I've been talking about Aleister Black.
I think he's like 32, but I'm gonna look it up.
See, and if he is like that
33,
old,
33.
That's not fucking bad, like at all. That's really because Joe's like 39, and that's another thing too. Aleister Black to me is in that pocket where he is going to make some good money on the main roster. I know you talked about crowds and stuff like how well he can do. I think with the money he can make if they promote him right, because he's younger than Joe, shows up more than Lesnar. I think he's got a better aesthetic than both. Yeah. So like Aleister Black, if they play their cards right, and I wish Brandon was here because he probably love everything I'm saying right now, he is going to make good fucking money. Like everybody in NXT, they talk about like how their paychecks get a little fatter when they go on the main roster. Aleister Black is going to make his fucking work money in the next like 5 years. And it's going to be a wonderful time for him. And it's going to be a wonderful time for all of us. This is a guy that if Fox is really looking to make SmackDown the sports show where they bring that air of legitimacy, you're looking at a fucking cornerstone, and I'm not going to be told otherwise. Like, I really feel like this is a guy that can carry a brand on his back if, again, they present him the right way. So I've praised Gargano to death, but I just really had to take time out to just remind everybody how great I believe Aleister Black to be. It's just all in how you present him. And he still, even with how he lost tonight and everything, still looks like a fucking badass to me. This match was fucking great, but now I'm going to hand it back to you to talk about the rest of the stuff that happened. So walk us through it.
Yeah. Shit, man. As far as like picking up at the end of the match where I left off, you mean? Because that was
with the surprise finish and then
because Gargano's trying to escape up and over the corner of the cage that he's in, and Aleister Black is trying to escape out of the door. And as Aleister's trying to escape, Tommaso Ciampa shows up and slams the door in his face, and then gets him into the ring, beats him down. Gargano looks like he's going to get down and get into the ring and actually try and help Black to get Ciampa off of him. But we get this long kind of pause and then like this knowing look. But then there's also like this unsuredness in Gargano's eyes. And then he and Ciampa do the thing. They lift their hands up over their head, and we get the DIY finisher, which I've so lovingly named PCS, post-concussion syndrome. Ciampa does the knee, Gargano does the super kick. Ciampa leaves. Gargano picks up the winning pinfall on Aleister Black. And DIY, John. Why?
This was so fucking good. First of all, Ciampa Daddy forever. This sexy bald fuck that, like, god damn, the tube
I mean,
socks.
as bald-headed fucks go, Ciampa's definitely the best of the group.
Oh, dude, the tube socks I have wasted on that magnificent man, but that's neither here nor there.
Goodness,
but
that.
but no, in all seriousness, great fucking angle. Like he comes in and it makes perfect sense, like on either side, right? Because you look at the Ciampa side, he's defending the title against Aleister Black at TakeOver Phoenix. He wants to soften Black up and he wants to get any leg up on Aleister that he can. With Johnny, he's in such a dark place. And let's remember what he said in his promo last week leading up to the cage match. He said he was willing to do whatever he had to do to beat Aleister Black and to kind of, you know, put Black down. I would say teaming up with your most hated enemy falls into the category of whatever I have to do. So for both guys, they're getting something out of this. I don't know if this is like a temporary alliance because the enemy of my enemy, you know, is my friend kind of thing, or if they're planning to stick around because it's like they're better with each other than without. But whatever it was so fucking good. I wish, honestly, I want to go back and watch this segment again because I know you said the crowd were chanting DIY, so I'm guessing they were really into this. I never hear the crowd or take in the atmosphere because I always want to hear you and anything that's going on, so I always have it muted. But I would have loved to have taken the atmosphere in on this because it must have been fucking electric and just bonkers seeing this happen. And then the PCS, I mean, came off beautifully. And Gargano getting the pin, and Ciampa just looking through the cage with that smile. He has the perfect creeper facial expressions. It is fucking amazing. He was looking through that cage like, yeah, you get that pin. And it's just like, oh my God.
He just had this look on his face like, I love you, Johnny.
I love you. Now you know what you have to do, right? Maybe. No, it was fucking great. I've really got nothing else to say like about that. It's really cool that Johnny got the win because now here's the thing. Whatever happens at TakeOver Phoenix, Johnny's back in the conversation now. He just beat the #1 contender. So
I wonder if we're going to get the triple threat at Phoenix and then we'll get one-on-one Ciampa Black at TakeOver before WrestleMania.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something if the script was flipped? Because we always thought that would be Gargano in that spot.
I did too, man. I thought that was going to be when the Gargano fairy tale came true with him and Candice both winning titles, damn it.
Yeah, that's really looking like so far away. Yeah, bleak as fuck indeed, friend. I've got nothing else to say about this unless you do. We can move on to our final segment.
Well, our final segment is what, John?
High spots and low shots. But before we get into that, very quickly, guys, just a quickest rundown. Check out the TWitWoW Facebook page. Leave a like if you visit. Follow Ashton on Twitter. There you'll find in his pinned tweet the TWitWoW recording schedule for the month of December. We've got a little bit of time left on December and some really cool stuff coming up in the coming weeks. I think this is the last recording of this week, but next week I know we've got, your standard SmackDown Live reactions, and I think a Patreon request or two. So if you want to know everything that's going on, recordings that get added, redacted, moved around, what have you, Ashton's pin tweet is the way to go. Follow me on Twitter as well. I'm that crazy hyper fandom kind of guy. I've really been more Goodfellow on Twitter lately. It's concerning to me. I know it's probably concerning to you all too. But my pin tweet is to collect Q&A questions. Q&A is going to be, I want to say the 27th, and it is. Oh my God, look at me fucking knowing stuff. My face is just so efficient.
Yeah, man. After tonight, we've got Christmas Day, and then that pretty much that whole week we've got recordings, but it really picks up. We don't have any points between Christmas Day and January 5th with more than one off day in a row. Like there are just no gaps in the time there. There are a few single days off, but no two in a row at any point between those dates.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So again, guys, keep your finger on the pulse. Follow Ashton's pin tweet, my pin tweet again. Q&A questions. You're going to want to get them in before December 27th. Dude, I feel like everything's coming up so fast between year-end awards and our next Q&A. It's like, oh my God. But
dude, it's crazy because we've got, next week it's going to start normal. It's going to be like a normal week, SmackDown and NXT, just like this week. But then Thursday NXT, then Thursday we'll have our Q&A. And then we have an NEW live reaction courtesy of Wes on Friday. And then Sunday is year-end awards. And then we have Monday off. But then Tuesday, ta-da, 5v5s and potentially also SmackDown. So yeah, it's going to be a crazy week starting this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys are going to want to get your Q&A questions in on my pin tweet. The way it works now is non-Patreon donors only get 3 questions per Q&A, but if you do donate to the Patreon, you get up to 5 questions per Q&A. I'll get to the Patreon in just a second. Best ways to submit your questions: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Discord. Again, if you do them to my pin tweet, I see them all right there. You can also DM me on Twitter. I know 1 or 2 people really like to take that option, so whatever makes you comfortable. Beyond that, guys, our Teespring got a lot of merch for you. We've got TWitWoW specific merch. I'm a TWitWoW guy. I'm a TWitWoW girl, as well as we've got a TWitWoW t-shirt with the opening intro, with the best and like all that good stuff. So you're going to want to really get in on that. We also have wrestler specific merch, Braun Strowman, I'm not finished with you, and Kevin Owens. And we've got real face of the women's revolution, Emma, who I hope she's doing better because I know she's been through quite a bit lately. We've got an Andrade t-shirt or Naito, depending on how you look at it, Tranquilo. You're going to want to get that before Wrestle Kingdom January 4th when Naito takes on Jericho to hopefully regain the IWGP Intercontinental Championship and tons more. So
ridiculous is it going to be if he doesn't beat Jericho? God damn it.
I wasn't really hoping to put any of us on suicide watch, so I'm not going to think about Naito's trajectory right now.
Okay.
But you guys definitely want to check out all the offerings we have. And then finally, of course, the Patreon. We've made quite a few shakeups to the Patreon. I would say all of them for the better. Because really now what we're doing, I'm just pulling it up now. What we're doing is if we get up to and above $120 a month, we'll be live reacting to 3 hours of wrestling every week of the following month. And what Ashton will do is he'll create polls. People in the Discord and stuff will get to vote on it, and you guys will be able to make your choice. So, for example, this month, the 3 hours of wrestling has been 2 hours of SmackDown and 1 hour of NXT, which I got to say I've grown rather comfortable in. Like, if this would be a rhythm, that I'm not going to complain about, especially on the NXT end. They have been fantastic lately. But Ashton's always introducing new options. I mean, hell, we even had Impact on the table in this latest poll. It lost out, but you never know.
It did get the second most votes, though. The only show that got more votes than Impact was SmackDown, but because SmackDown's 2 hours and Impact's 2 hours, we couldn't do them both, so we had to just choose SmackDown as the 2 hour show and then just pick the highest voted 1 hour show, which happened to be NXT.
Exactly. So, but my point is we make it very democratic, as far as the shows that you can elect, and you never know what's going to win the next month. I mean, I would like to think that we get, new eyes every day at least, and you never know, new fans come in, or maybe old ones have a change of taste. And I really like that. I think it really broadens the options of what we can do rather than constricting us to just one thing for a whole month. And I think, again, it just leaves it up to you guys. And speaking of people power, it gets even better because if you want to get in on the Patreon and kind of contribute to Team TWitWoW and take advantage of all this, the easiest, most straightforward way is to donate $3 to the TWitWoW Discord, what I call the ultimate fan server experience. There you'll get to spend time with Ashton and myself, as well as the most hardcore TWitWoW fans. We can talk about Raw, SmackDown. We can talk about Lucha Underground any day of the year, even though they're out of season. Pretty much any wrestling that's going on, stuff outside of wrestling, from anime to video games to music to Game of Thrones. I know a lot of people are hyped up for April next year. So pretty much if you can talk about it, we probably exist for it, is the way that I like to consider our Discord. And, you might be thinking to yourself, well, 3 hours to join a fan server, I'm part of a couple. That's cool and all. But, excuse me?
You said hours is $3.
Well, I thought I said $3, excuse me. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm part of a few fan servers, but there doesn't seem to be enough me involved in this. How can we make it more about me? Well, good news for you is that the more time you spend on the Discord, so, you figure it's $3 a month. Say you spend 10 months in there, you got $30. Okay, well, what can I do with this $30 outside of just renewing my membership? Well, everybody has kind of a TWitWoW account. I even saw Ashton, like, one message in one of the Discord channels that we've got, give a breakdown of each person's TWitWoW account. So you would start your TWitWoW account. That's $30. You can exhaust it all in one foul swoop for a request for a live reaction to a 3 hour show. That's right. Your TWitWoW account affords you the opportunity for content control. Hell, one of the instances that really sticks out in my mind, there was going to be a month that we weren't going to do SmackDown live reactions because we didn't hit our initial overarching Patreon goal. Javaris, one of our most passionate fans, came in and he's like, nah, I really like when you guys live react to SmackDown, so I'm going to use my TWitWoW account and the funds I've got there to get you guys to live react to it for a month. And he just kept the ship sailing, even though we didn't hit our Patreon goal. That is the power that you can afford yourself with your own TWitWoW account. Abuse it maliciously or don't. I mean, it's for you to decide. Some people abuse it maliciously, like Sal, for instance, who got us to live react to Heroes of Wrestling. And I'm definitely thinking about doubling up on my therapy in 2019 because of it. So you know, again, it's a lot of power in your hands, all from just starting from $3 a month. That is insane. I mean, that is, again, a win-win-win-win, as I like to call it. So please consider donating to the Patreon. We greatly appreciate any support, and we love you for it. So with that said, we can now get to why you're really here. High spots and low shots. And I will say, my low shot, where do I want to go with? You know what? I'm actually going to say my low shot is going to be Jessamine and Marina, because they were looking great, but the moment Io got in, she taught them whose fucking house this is. I mean, god damn, they got their asses beat. I can't imagine that Shayna was happy about that. And speaking of Shayna, you know what she probably thought when she saw that? I hope Io stays the fuck away from me and my championship, because she probably saw a real threat there. So for tonight, Jessamine and Marina, I am sorry. You're my low shot. Ashton, who's your low shot?
Oh, yeah, that's rough. I think I'm going to have to make my low shot Aleister Black, because even though you and I agree that the way that they're portraying him, they're making him out to be just the biggest babyface, like I said in live reaction, since Finn Balor, he still took a pretty massive L on this show that might potentially, depending on how Regal reacts to it, take him out of title contention. So potentially devastating loss overrides the fact that he's going to be more beloved than ever after this.
I'm going to make my high spot very simple. The Blackheart, the NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa. He is fucking running the world. He even just tweeted 32 minutes ago at Johnny Gargano, welcome home, and a gif of Ciampa hugging Gargano.
No.
Yeah, and it's a gif of him hugging Johnny. And yeah,
that's gross.
He has Gargano in his back pocket now. He got in his head, he broke him down, and he rebuilt him in Ciampa's image. He got the leg up on the guy that's challenging for his title at TakeOver Phoenix, that's been like wanting to fucking hunt him since he got taken out of that original triple threat. You know, and he's still NXT champion. I mean, I know the title wasn't in jeopardy tonight, but again, getting a leg up on the competition to ensure that statement, NXT champion, stays the same after TakeOver Phoenix. Ciampa, to me, is the most logical high spot. He's pulling all the strings. He's the puppet master right now. So, who's your high spot?
God damn it. Well, you know what? You left this wide open for me, so I'll make my high spot Io Shirai, because it was kind of proven tonight that she is on a level or two above the other three women that she was in the ring with, you know, Marina, Jessamine, and Dakota Kai. So very impressed by the way that they've portrayed Io. It's pretty awesome to see her dominate the way she did and get the win for her team with a little bit of help from Dakota, just making sure Jessamine doesn't interfere.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, with that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinate commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment on this video when it's done processing. What do you think about the Dark DIY reunion? Are you excited for Heavy Machinery versus Undisputed Era next week for the NXT Tag Team titles? In fact, between those two matches, the Fatal 4-Way and the Tag Title match, which one are you looking forward to more? And for both, what outcomes do you anticipate as we're on the road to NXT TakeOver Phoenix? What did you think of Dijakovic's debut? I'm actually proud of myself that I've already gotten used to, like, that's how his name is pronounced. I thought it'd be a lot harder, but, you know, what did you think of his debut? What do you think his ceiling is? Do you agree with Ashton and mine's prediction that he will be holding gold in 2019, whether it's the North American title or just straight to the NXT Championship? Talk to us, talk to us, talk to us. Be sure to like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Subscribe to your new favorite wrestling podcast if you haven't, and click the bell icon for notifications so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. And we will see you again on Tuesday for, is it just our SmackDown Live?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, for SmackDown Live reactions. Until then, guys, tune in and peace out.